Welcome back to another race weekend here in the F1 career mode with Williams as I, Herb Herbert, take on the Chinese Grand Prix Shanghai race weekend as we tried to make up for last time round. It wasn't so great, was it? We've just been told by Mark that the R&D's failed, so we haven't got the upgrades we wanted. So we're ahead of Alpine and Haas and the Kicks. But behind, well, I mean, that kind of makes sense for Williams, but we're only just behind the Visa Cash App RB team, the V-Corb. So we want to try and push for them. Mercedes, like, the gaps here don't look that big. So yeah, we need to go through. Let's go through and have a look at what failed then. Unavailable on the wing. Albon was making something. That is available. He's looking at it. Does that mean he's going to buy it or we got to buy it? How many points we got? 924. Okay, we complete the spark plugs. The ignition system failed. Look at the jump that would have had. Look at the jump in that bottom right-hand corner. God damn it. Okay, standard. 0% chance of failure. It will come after. Very annoying. As we sit above, currently 74, target 74. Looking to get into 75. So let's have a look what goals we've got for our experts. Keep the tyres. Complete the weekend with no more than 4 collisions with other cars. Hey, let's go for the keep the tyres one, yeah? Let's set us up a challenge. Specialist unavailable. Material fabrication planner. Stress test the tyres about 30% where... Ooh. Perform 250 gear shifts in a single session. We should be able to do that. I'll just keep braking. In practice, complete a lap using at least 2 sets of tyres. Complete any one session without using the flashback. I don't use flashback, so that's easy enough to do. And then for the strategy analyst. Perfect one practice program. We normally do a bit of backwards and forwards and get it going. So none of our what are these called? Specialists are at level 1 yet. I want to get some level 1 specialists. We're doing all right. Stand-ins, not great. We're in and Albon's in 15th. We're rock bottom. We need some points, baby. Let's go to the race weekend then. Shanghai Grand Prix, round 5. Oh, it's a sprint weekend. We get 1 practice session. Crap. Okay, I love this screen. It just looks like the Empire. Look, I am your father. Come to the dark light side. Dark light side. Anyway, I get distracted. Practice. We got 30 minutes of practice. Then a sprint qualifying. Then a sprint. Then a quali. Then a race. I mean, fair play. Let's get into it. Let's do some dang on racing. I had to reset my wheel since last time, so I'm a little bit worried. Weekend preview, development updates failed. Oh, no, some came in. So we got front wing downforce and the weight reduction, but the engine power, which was the big one, is not there. The race is going to be wet. Although when we had wet in F2, it actually worked to our advantage. Okay, I'm going to go away. I'm going to get my practice session done, and then we'll come back for some sweet, sweet sprint quali action.
And that's it. Practice is officially over. Until next time, goodbye.
Practice complete. Right, we got one. Oh my god, the Williams. We're both so slow. That's not good. The track feels good, and we were getting good ratings on the practice, but maybe the car is just not good here. But I like the track. I haven't driven the Chinese Grand Prix. The driving wise, I'm pretty FA with the beginning of the season, because that's how long I normally play for, and the F2 tracks, because we've just done them. So as a true rookie, I am learning these tracks in practice session 1, and then throwing myself straight, or 1, 2, and 3, throwing myself straight into the races. So let's see how quali goes. The resource points we need for that upgrade. Okay, that's a nice bit of experience in there, though, to take that 67 up.
Now here's something we haven't said for a little while. Welcome along to qualifying in China. After a few years' absence from the calendar, it is great to be back here. But just who is going to put their car on pole?
Okay. Oh, the race is. I keep forgetting the race is going to be wet. Okay, we got nice sunny sprint quali, so we just might as well jump in and get our laps done and see how we get on. Really, I can't see a better way of doing it. Let's jump straight to the track. Get back into the garage. Leclerc followed me the whole way around there, which was right up my ass, and then also midway through. Someone was on the radio in my ear barking like a fucking dog. We're going to need to go again. That put us 10th, but I think a lot of people... if Albon's up in 6th, we were down in 10th, we're now down to 14th. Yeah, we are last, essentially, of those that haven't gone yet. So our best lap is a while. We need to knock 3 tenths off. We need to knock, oh my God, 8 tenths off to catch Albon. So we'll be going out for another one, another lap. We're going to have to. Okay, not many people out on track. Let's go. Let's go for it now, shall we? Session info, flying lap, please. We might have just enough time for one lap.
Okay, that's P19, P19.
Crap. That sector 1, I did so well in practice. I just could not get the hang of it in qualifying. Lando is on pole. Verstappen second. Hamilton in third. Alonso in the Aston in fourth. And Alexander Albon in 11th there. Our teammate just outside points. We are showing the gap here as we are down in 19th. Only beating Valtteri Bottas. We were so far off the rest. Bottas must have had a bad time as well. 3 tenths away from Pierre Gasly and Kevin Maggs. That is not a good run for us from 19th to get used to a race here in China. All right, Alex, you can very smug over there. Sprint race, 7 laps before we have another qualifying session and a 20-lap wet race. At least the race is going to be different. Okay, let's get into it. 7 laps, fast as we can, as many overtakes as possible.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Shanghai International Circuit then is a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience. And the flat, open to the elements location, test their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and they're available into turn 1 and down the kilometre-long back straight into turn 14. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Leclerc, Russell, Stroll, Sainz, Albon, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Ocon, Hülkenberg, Joe, Magnussen, Gasly, Herbert, and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid.
Hello, Cheeky Valtteri.
Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Which of these drivers will get pole position today?
And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver?
I know you're frustrated to be this far back on the grid, but you've got to keep that under control. Keep a cool head and work your way through the field gradually as you go. It's not all going to be won or lost at the first corner.
Or is it, Mark? Okay, strategy is going to be simple, right? Yeah. Straight out, on the mediums, razzle-dazzle them as much as we can. We're expecting lap times to come down slightly, but yeah, it should be fine. Tyre life only comes down to like 60%. Easy squeezy. Let's do it. Here we are, the Chinese sprint race, Shanghai, 5 red lights, and away we go. Herbert starting from 19th place here after a poor qualifying run. Albon in 11th, but already down to 13th as we see going into the first corner. Herbert off the pace. The first sprint format, as I take it back. His slingshot round the outside from 19th to 16th place alongside Zhao. Can he force Zhao out? Forces Zhao out, and the Willies are now 14th and 15th after one corner here. No, Zhao gets himself back in with Albon dropping down from 11th. The sprint format here, the first that we've had in a shorter 7-lap race, straight shot, no pit stops here, and then we go into the longer race here. A indication of maybe how the cars will perform. A straight race out, overtaking, aggressive pushes on the tyres as we see Gasly going side by side with Herbert here as he looks to dive back in and get in front of Zhao. Albon has made up his place and dropped it again. 13th place for Albon, 15th place for Herbert as we are deep into lap 1 here. As the Willies, you can see them side by side taking the same line through. Herbert following Albon round to make sure Zhao is put in his place. Albon with Tsunoda. The Williams and RB fights continue. As you can see, a bit of dancing. A bit of dancing from the cars here as DRS will be enabled into the second lap. 7-lap shot. The Willies side by side, 13th and 14th. Herbert has taken the lead from Albon on the outside. They go wheel to wheel. Look like a little bit of contact there from the two Williams boys. As Herbert takes the lead, 13th from 19th after in one lap. This is the sprint action that they wanted when they brought in this format of race. As Albon pops out, tries to take the inside line with Herbert again. The Willies going side to side. Team principal James Vowles must not be liking this as there goes a bit of front wing from Alex Albon. Just a slight bit of contact with the rear right wheel of Herbert. And Albon has lost a bit of front wing. Herbert also has lost a bit of front wing as we see him coming around the corner there. Both Willies with front right wing damage. 13th and 14th. Is this their lot? Going a little bit too aggressive into this sprint potentially for both drivers here. As we see damage has been picked up as well as places. As Norris leads this sprint race here. Alonso up in second in the Aston Martin with Verstappen in third. Let's see if the Tsunoda's RB can make up any places here, can capitalise on any performance loss from Herbert and Albon in the Williams with that front wing damage. As it looks like Herbert is now kind of out of no man's land. 1.6 seconds to Ocon in front in the Alpine. Nearly the second with Albon behind. Albon having DRS with Tsunoda right behind him also with DRS. None of them fast enough to catch Herbert on this straight as we go into that hard right-hand corner there. Wide running from Herbert as you see that front wing starting to play in. The gap was 1.3 seconds back up to 1.6 as Ocon and the pack are going to pull us. Tsunoda has got past Albon there. You can see Tsunoda has passed Albon. Albon struggling a little more than Herbert, seemingly with that front wing damage. As Herbert is on the cusp of breaking that DRS with Tsunoda. Great overhead shot here as they come down into the right hand again. Tight right hand bend before the DRS straight. Tsunoda should have DRS going into the longer turn. What an overhead shot. What a camera shot here. Herbert 2 seconds to Ocon. Tsunoda up against him. Yuki is looking for that gap, looking for the chance to get round. Wide running again from Herbert, struggling to keep that front end, losing a bit of downforce with the damaged front wing. Albon 1.4 seconds dropped off behind these two here. As here we have it, DRS straight. Yuki primed in position. Herbert moves over to the right to try and make it difficult. Comes off the main line, dances back. Yuki's going to go. Herbert's going to squeeze him out right to the edge of the track to hold on to that position. Keeps him wide. But Yuki's going to try and make it. Can he hold it on the inside? Herbert keeps it side by side. Tsunoda is in front. It doesn't look like... Oh, a late break off the track before the line, and Tsunoda is in front of Herbert there. 14th place for Herbert, 16th for Albon, as Gasly has now made it in front of Alexander Albon now as well, as the Williams are starting to struggle. Lap 4 of 7, as Herbert's going to try and keep pace with Tsunoda here for as long as possible. Tsunoda's a 3.4 second gap to make up to Ocon if he wants to improve and try and get into the points positions. Point positions 8 and above here in the sprint race. So points definitely not on the board for the Willies, but we know that there is a bit of a rivalry brewing between RBs and the Williams. Gasly now is in touching distance of Herbert. That early aggression absolutely doing the Williams team in here, as both cars are hemorrhaging speed, as Gasly's weaving about the back of Herbert the way he has done many times in the past. We've got another DRS straight, another chance tucked in behind, as Herbert is again, he's going to stay on the inside line now. Gave it up to Tsunoda last time round, going to force Gasly to the inside. Late break, goes round, gives Gasly the inside turn, holds on to the place though. Worked out better that time than against Tsunoda, who is now pulled away to 1.8 seconds. Keeps it on the track this time, Herbert, and maintains 14th place over the line for lap 5. As no, Gasly with the DRS, it was enough. The short DRS straight was enough, and Gasly breezes past Herbert. Herbert down to 15th now into lap 5 of this 7-lap sprint. Albon, Zhao has got past Albon now. Albon's down to 17th. The Williams team started not in the best positions, made it up, had a clash, and have now taken each other down the ranks here. James Vowles is not going to be happy with this one. As we here now can see Zhao in that kick Sauber in 16th as we come round to the DRS straight again on lap 5. Can Herbert hold on? 3rd lap in a row that he is being challenged for position here. DRS open for Zhao. Is he going to go? He's going to force him to do the same that he did with Gasly. Late break gives him the inside line, gives him a more than enough track. Zhao makes the par. No, Herbert stays in front. Zhao backs off as we come into this final corner. Can Herbert keep it on the track? Just about. Just about, as we got the second DRS straight now. Will Zhao do a Gasly and just pass down the inside? He looks like he's going to do it. Oh, no, he just stays right up in the tail of Herbert. Right in the tail of Herbert. Zhao does not make the move. Herbert holds on to 15th. Zhao will have to wait for that second, that DRS straight again to make his move, as Herbert will defend heavily around this 6th lap here in Shanghai. As you can see, the cars going side by side here. Gasly gone. 2.5 seconds is the pace that has been lost by Herbert since being passed by Gasly just a lap or so ago. As Zhao and Herbert go side by side, Herbert holding out again, holding on, but losing and giving up his DRS here, knowing that the pass is going to come. Hülkenberg is in that train as well. Albon down to 18th now. As we see all 3 cars coming around the corner. Herbert, Zhao, Hülkenberg. DRS is open for the 2 cars behind. Is this going to be a double pass? Herbert moves over to try and defend at least one of them. Holds Hülkenberg back, but Zhao has gone. Is he going to late break? He's going to late break in. Try and hold on to something here. He's side by side. Zhao's going to take him. Zhao has taken the position into the final corner. Herbert's going to run real wide. Does that let Hülkenberg through? Herbert now has DRS and maybe try and maintain some pace here, as it looks like Hülkenberg is side by side with Herbert. Can he hold him into that? No, Hülkenberg is through. 2 places lost, Zhao and Hülkenberg. Albon down to 19th, Herbert 17th, Bottas now behind in this train. But Herbert into the final lap will have DRS for the first time in about 4 laps for the young driver. So maybe able to hold on to the 17th place. Still a gain from his initial. Albon really suffering, starting up in 11th or 12th and dropping down to 19th. Not great for the number 1 driver for Williams. As we come into that long DRS straight, Hülkenberg pulled away. Herbert has lost DRS. You know, at the checkpoint he was just inside, but it doesn't look like Bottas is going to try and make the move. Herbert holds on to 18th position, runs super wide, gives up, no. And Bottas, is through in the second to last corner. Herbert loses it, runs wide. Bottas takes the place. Herbert 18th. Albon 20th. The Williams team doing themselves out of what was initially a good, fast start. Strong move at the beginning. Carlos Sainz, driver of the day.
So that wraps up the sprint race, but there's still more action yet to come this weekend. We've got qualifying and, of course, the Grand Prix.
Sainz got driver of the day in 6th. Norris there then, taking the lead. Verstappen next. Both the Williams struggled. We started 19th, finished 18th. Albon started, 11th, finished 20th. So Albon clearly had issues. Hopefully it wasn't from when we nudged him at the very beginning. We just took him out of the race, which we may well have done. But yeah, we were, in front of Yuki? And then trying to chase Ocon, and then that was it. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody come through. Big mistake at the end. But we know what it's all about now. We've done that, so now we can go into qualifying for the real race, try and improve that Sector 2 where we're slow, and then have a better full Grand Prix. Okay, into short quali. Same as before, we'll do one lap at the beginning, see where we sit, maybe do a second if we need it.
Now here's something we haven't said for a little while. Welcome along to qualifying in China. After a few years' absence from the calendar, it is great to be back here. But just who is going to put their car on pole?
Who is going to put their car on pole? Right, let's go out. First lap, clear track. Okay, session info. Let's see where we got to. Where did we get to? That was not a bad lap. We had a bit of rubbish in there, but it wasn't a bad lap. 6th, and others have already gone in front of Bottas. In front of Piastri. Piastri was stuck behind us, so it makes sense his best lap was just behind us. Let's accelerate time. See where we get to when we get close towards the end. See how far we go down. 9th currently. We know they're all going to go out late as well. Okay, 4 minutes left. 9th place. Do we go for one more? Piastri's out as well. Let's go out. On the used tyres. Okay, second lap was not any faster. That's the end of quali. See where we got to. I bet everyone came in real fast at the end, didn't they? As they always do. Well, I'm not in the top 10. Oh, don't do this to me. Verstappen on pole. Norris second. Piastri third. Alonso. Carlos Sainz. Oh, we did it. 15th. 15th. Nice. Up from 19th. We're in front of the Kicks and the Hasses. Nicely done. And in front of Albon. Just in front of Albon. So the Willies lining up 15th and 16th on the grid for the full Grand Prix. That's going to be a messy first corner. I hope we're on the outside so we can slingshot like we did in the sprint. 20 laps. Oh no, in the rain. I forgot it was raining. Okay. Mark's literally telling me not to crash the car. Wow, that's fair, to be fair. It's kind of my MO, crashing the cars. Oh my God, look at it.
It's time again then for Formula One in Shanghai. Northwest of the thriving city of over 24 million people is a circuit that first featured in the championship calendar back in 2004. It played host to Formula One's 1000th Grand Prix back in 2019. The ever-tightening turns of 1 and 2 will prove tricky in the slippery conditions here in Shanghai, and anyone that slides wide will lose a lot of time getting back on track. Turn 14 should still be the best place for overtaking, but we'll have to see some improvement in the weather before the drivers can take advantage of that DRS assistance.
Crap.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Ocon, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Gasly, Stroll, Herbert, Albon, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, and Zhou Guanyu.
Oh, we're on that outside.
Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
What a difference a day makes here as we get 5 red lights in Shanghai. And it's lights out. And away we go. 15th and 16th for the Williams team here after the sprint race. Yes, they look at them all whizzing off the line as we have horrid wet conditions here as Herbert runs very wide. Attempts the same slingshot he did in the sprint race. Holds on to 15th. As you can see, the trains here up to 12th. The move that worked yesterday up to 11th, we can hold on to it. Works again today, has to stay close as we have poor visibility here ourselves as the rain is torrential here in Shanghai. Their weather reports say that it may loosen, it may dry up towards the end of this 20-lap race as we see Herbert up in 11th from the start and Albon staying down in 16th. As conditions here are poor. The driver has some experience with the wet track. Silverstone in his F2 career was quite a good race for the rookie driver, so has handled the wet races before, but an F1 car is a different kettle of fish. You see the back end spin out there slightly as we wait for the dry line to appear as everyone is struggling into this first lap. You can see there Piastri popping out and trying to take Alonso, makes the move Alonso up to 4th. Verstappen leading the race as Herbert is just outside points here in 11th. Ocon in front, Hamilton in front of him from there, and the VCARB partnership, rivalry, behind Herbert here of Tsunoda and Ricciardo. Look at the visibility here as you've got cars all over the shop. Piastri and Alonso going at it again. Very slow into the corners. Herbert goes for the move late on Ocon. Makes the move count. Up to 10th place for Herbert in the train of cars. Much like Piastri on Alonso, Herbert just takes the inside track. Rather than queue up, will jump inside. How very not British of you, Herbert. 1.2 seconds the gap to Lewis Hamilton as the dry line into lap 2 is starting to appear. The racing line is starting to appear. We have 20 laps for this track to try and dry out. But in a wet race, sometimes overtaking is difficult, especially outside of that first lap where mistakes are made. If Herbert holds on here, could be on track for his first points of the season. As we see the train here as we come onto DRS straight. Of course, no DRS in these conditions, but everyone maintaining pace. As you can see now, that fast line is starting to pull out. As Ocon had a little move, had a little look there on Herbert as they go into. Herbert's going to bump up close, leave a bit of a gap for Ocon, and just slingshot round. Carrying some more speed as Hamilton in front look to brake a little more aggressively. As the spray continues, the rain continues into lap 3 here in Shanghai. Nice onboard here. You can see the rain still coming down strong. The driver's getting absolutely soaked here as Herbert holds on to 10th place behind Lewis Hamilton. You can see the cars anywhere off that driving line, off that drier line, is slippy as hell for these drivers. As Hamilton's starting to pull away, a second the gap between Herbert and Hamilton. Ocon hot on his heels, looking to gain back that position. Again, Alpine looking for points here. As we see the overhead shot now, Herbert pulling in that gap on Hamilton. The rain looks to be coming down a little less than it was before. The track is drying out in certain points. 4 laps into this Chinese Grand Prix. The spray is definitely easing up, which means less water is on the ground. Obviously, that racing line is drying out somewhat, but it does look like the rain is easing up somewhat. We can see the cars now as they are shooting down this DRS straight, which gives us some hope that the back end of this race may be a little drier, may be a little quicker. As we can see now on this DRS straight, still a bit of spray, but a lot less as the rain is easing up here. 5 laps into this 20-lap race, a quarter gone. Will we see the move off the wet tyres by some of the drivers here just to test what is going on, test the pace? As we go into lap 6, we're just going to check in on Sergio Perez, who is on the intermediates. Had what we thought was mechanical failure, was coming into the pits very early, actually was pitting onto Inters. It's gone down to 19th, but is going to be our pace setter, our tester, as we see other cars are coming onto Inters. That's Danny Ricciardo out on Inters as well. 6 laps in, some teams are making the gamble and sending cars onto intermediates. After a quarter of this race, the spray clearly drying up enough, or the track, sorry, drying up enough. Oh, as we see Herbert dip a wheel onto the grass. It's drying up, but it's not dry yet. Does well to keep the car on the track there. I would have woken him up if he was getting a little bit complacent here in the rain in Shanghai. Albon up to 13th position. 2.4 seconds from the Aston Martin of Stroll. Herbert chasing down the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. As you can see, the track is starting to dry out. DRS, of course, still not enabled yet, but we may still have a bit of racing to come here in China. You can see from the overhead shot here, as soon as Herbert here is dancing off that drier line, the spray kicking up. But when he stays on the drier racing line, spray is at a minimum. What an overhead shot here. Oh, as Herbert, lap 7. The Williams team making the call. 7 laps in, coming in on his own to come onto the intermediate tyres. The gamble is being made by the front runner. The rookie is going to take the risk as we see Herbert turn in here. Yeah, no damage to the car as the intermediates go on. Quick stop from the Williams team. And Herbert is away out into, should be 18th place. So Ricardo's going to catch him up here as he's out with, there he is, as Danny Rick goes round. Out with the intermediate runners. Danny Rick, Hulkenberg has had a problem. Perez and Gasly all on, oh no, Gasly is just having a terrible run on the softs. Perez is the pace setter here. 4 seconds he's got to make up to Zhao. We'll be keeping an eye on whether he starts making up time, and therefore the gamble has been worth it. But the Williams team must have looked at the data, given the call, given the choice of the driver, and Herbert has taken up the risk and said, we'll do it. We'll jump onto those inters. Let's see. Albon now up to 12th on the wets. He's going to try and hold out and go for the longer play on the wets, and Herbert's going to go for the speed that should come with the inters if the track is at the right temperature. As we see Herbert right up behind Ricardo straight away. This will be a test as we see. Can he get round Danny Rick? Are they on the pace? Or has the Williams in the intermediates found a little bit more pace? 8 laps into this 20-lap Shanghai Grand Prix. Here we see on the DRS straight, can he tuck in behind? Is Herbert going to get a more pace? Doesn't look to be gaining that much, even tucking in behind Danny Rick here. Within, obviously, the 1 second DRS, but DRS not activated yet in this weather. As we go into lap 9, Herbert hunting down on that main straight the RB of Danny Ricciardo as he goes down the inside of Danny Rick. Surprises him somewhat as you see Ricciardo swerve to the left, even though there was more than enough space, as Herbert makes the move up to 18th. These two have come to crop-ins a few times this season, causing huge problems for Herbert in that Williams car. But this time, enough space given. Herbert passes up into 18th, has the wet tyres of Pierre Gasly in front to now hunt down, as Perez has closed those 4 seconds straight away. He is now on the tail of Zhao in 16th. The Inters seemingly find some speed. As you see Herbert here, alongside Gasly, this is what we're talking about. Any gap has been closed completely. Tucked in behind. Herbert makes the move into the corner with that additional speed, additional grip. Gasly has been overtaken easily here. Maybe it is time for the Inters. We are going to see now the difference between Albon in 12th and Herbert in 17th. Where will they end up as this track continues to dry? The big question here is, will some of these teams go on to a second set of wets onto the Inters, or potentially hold out for the dries? Is it going to be dry enough for us to see a set of hards or mediums out here in Shanghai by the end of this race? We are only coming round to lap 10 and halfway point here in China. Herbert 3.2 seconds as we cross the line. He can see Zhao. Perez is now in front of Zhao up into 15th as the intermediate gang are making their way through the ranks. As we ride on board with Herbert now, that gap already down to 1.3 seconds as he can see the kick Sauber of Zhao. Look at the pace that these Inters are gaining over the wets. You can see it in every corner. The Inters with that little bit more grip, meaning they can carry a lot more speed into a corner and out, getting the power down early. The intermediate tyre is now, as there we go, Herbert again makes the move. Same place he overtook Gasly. Makes the move before the chicane with the grip and the speed, carries him through, easily does, takes a little bit of a slide there on the curb. But Herbert is now up in front of Zhao and now 3 seconds behind Sergio Perez, who is making his way towards Magnussen. But Herbert here with this pace, we will see whether the Williams is really set up for this, this tyre in this weather. or whether Perez is going to maintain. If Perez caught up behind Magnussen, no, he's not even oh, he's just gone around Magnussen now as Magnussen's coming to pit. Magnussen and Bottas into pit. Perez has been released. As everybody is now coming in, we're seeing everybody fly in as Herbert's up to 9th position. Albon staying out on the wets. On the wets, Albon in the wheelie into 7th. Verstappen 6th. 2 seconds gap there. 2 seconds back from Albon is Perez. And 2.7 seconds back from Perez is Herbert. As we are seeing everybody come in and go on to the intermediates now. But will they have enough to come back? Dropping down this late in with the weather changing as it is, the early move could have been absolutely clutch for the Williams team here, as they have one car still out. It'll be interesting to see the pace of Albon and Perez, and then Perez to Herbert as to where the Inters are. Perez came in very early for Inters, 2 or 3 laps before Herbert, and of course Albon is there as Verstappen has been there as we've gone around the corner. Verstappen is out in the gravel. Verstappen will play no further part as Herbert and Albon in the Williams. The Williams team looking on points here for the first time. Albon in 6th, Herbert in 8th. This could be a glorious day for Team Williams after the coming to blows in the sprint race of the 2 drivers. We could be seeing something special from this Williams team here in Shanghai. Perez right in behind Albon there. Herbert falling back 4 seconds. Perez seemingly have the pace in the RB as to be expected against the Williams. As we've got another yellow flag. As more are in the pit and coming out. Will Herbert come out in front? Oh, Albon's in. Albon's gone in to change. Herbert up to 2nd in this race on the intermediates. 1.1 seconds to Sainz, who's out on hards. They're going for the hards. With 8 laps left to go, Ferrari have gambled on the hards. Piastri is on, I'm assuming the hards as well. Russell, they've all come in. They've made the gamble. They're going to the dry tyres. Herbert still out on his intermediates. Albon has now stayed on the wets all the way through and come out on a set of hards. Perez himself has moved and gone in on changes into his 4 hards. So a second stop for Perez, but maintains into 9th as Herbert is now hunting down Carlos Sainz. We're going to see the pace drop off here. Are the hards is it a little too early for the hards? Are we still in Inter's territory, or are the hards the right tyre to go for? The longer Herbert goes here though, with only 8 laps to go, he could find that if he is going to pit, he's going to pit onto something maybe a little softer, maybe a medium, because they will last to the end if this track does indeed dry up. The rain is gone, just the surface water to contend with, as Herbert is dropping off 3.2 seconds from the 1.8, I think it was, when he came out from the pit, as Piastri is behind. We'll see as quick as Piastri gets in and gets round. We also are hearing that the Williams team, Herbert's radio is not working. He is unable to communicate with engineers, so any gambles as he's coming in for the pit, wide on the pit. Herbert's coming in to make the change, try and fix that radio issue and get some tyres on. Seeing the pace drop off as he is 4th now with 6 seconds to drop in. He could well be coming in still inside the top 10, very close to teammate Albon, as they are in for a set of hards. Looks like a set of hards. Stuck with the hards. Can he maintain? Can he stay in the top 10? Herbert, as he comes out here in 8th position. 4 seconds to Lando Norris. Hamilton behind. Albon in 6th. Herbert in 8th. Williams with 2 cars in the top 10. Sainz leading this race ahead of Piastri and Russell. Verstappen and Magnussen DNFing. 13 laps of this 20-lap Shanghai Grand Prix gone, and we are on, hopefully, for an exciting end here. The track is dried out, the dry tyres are on, and everybody is sprinting to the finish. As we ride on board again with Herbert, lap 14 here. 4.7 seconds to Norris. Norris chasing down Albon, and Hamilton behind Herbert. as it all looks fair in love and more here. No one gaining or losing as we go into the last 6 laps of this Shanghai Grand Prix. You can see here Norris hunting down Albon. Albon still only a second off Stroll, but if you can maintain and keep the DRS difference working for both, then maybe Albon can hold on to 6th here as we're going to go into that DRS. DRS is now open. The track is dry enough. Both the Williams and the McLaren getting the benefit as Albon tries to defend, as Norris is going to go through on Alexander Albon there. Albon down to 7th. I mean, 7th and 8th. Not a bad day out for the Williams, as Herbert is 4 seconds behind that pack there. As we go into this DRS straight, again, 1 lap on. Herbert is actually chasing down Albon here. Norris has got round Stroll. Stroll and Norris have pulled away from Albon. 1.5 seconds the gap to 6th place, which means Albon is in no man's land, no DRS. And Herbert has closed that gap from 4 seconds down to 3.5. 3.4 now as we go over into lap 16. So the Williams could come head-to-head by the end of the race here with 4 laps to go as they fight for 7th and 8th, the best finish this Williams team will have had so far this season. The gap from Herbert to Hamilton below, maintaining 3 seconds. Hamilton not gaining on the other Mercedes car. So can Herbert catch Albon down to 2.7 seconds? He's taken almost half a second out of Albon this lap, where Albon is struggling slightly. Although he's on fresher hard tyres here. Albon beware, the rookie is coming. As we cross the line into lap 17, 2 seconds the gap. Albon has lost another second to the guys in front. 2.5 seconds the gap to Albon to Stroll, and Herbert now 1.4 from Albon. Albon is dropping pace every lap as Herbert is maybe gaining a little, as his gap to Hamilton is now 3.9 to 4 seconds. So a little push from Herbert and a drop from Albon is equaling a Willie fight towards the end of this Shanghai Grand Prix for 7th and 8th position. As we come into the end of lap 17, Herbert is now just half a second behind Albon, as Albon is struggling. No team orders in play, able to fight as they want, as the DRS is open for Herbert. He's going to make the move here on the straight into lap 18, right behind Albon. Doesn't make the move, sits and tucks in behind, goes for the slingshot round the outside. Look at the speed differential there as Herbert overtakes his teammate Alexander Albon into 7th position. The Willies still hold 7th and 8th. They're still the best team performance, but the drivers have swapped hands. Rookie now leads the experienced Alexander Albon, who's been dropping time. Albon 4.6 seconds to Hamilton. You'd hope he wouldn't be able to lose that much time. And Herbert 2.5 in front as we ride on board with the purple and green helmet of Herbert here, as he looks to chase down the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll and see out his highest finish thus far this season in Formula 1. As we come in to finish lap 18, Albon 1.4 seconds off the pace of Herbert, dropping time again, but Hamilton is not going to make that difference up. Herbert, though, on the hunt of Lance Stroll. I don't think with 2 laps to go it's going to be possible as we go into lap 19. 2 seconds to make up to Lance Stroll to try and get 6th place here. He can see him, but I'm not sure the gap is possible. Although, as I say that, we're down to 1.3 seconds already through that first sector. Fast chicanes, having getting the most out of these hard tyres here, having an absolutely outstanding race. Strategy calls on point for Williams, and drivers on point as they're getting the most out of this Williams car right now. Outperforming the Hamilton's Mercedes, Leclerc's Ferrari, as well as Alonso down in 15th. All cars on the paper that are stronger than this Williams, all being outperformed right now by both of the drivers here. 1.5 seconds, 1.4 seconds the gap. Not quite DRS range as they're going to come round to the straight, but Stroll is 4 seconds off Norris and does not have DRS himself. as you see Lance Stroll, followed by Herbert, followed by Albon, now 2.5 seconds behind his teammate. And in the back, in the distance there, Lewis Hamilton, 2.8 seconds to try and catch to Albon. I think Albon is safe as we go into this last lap. Herbert keeps it tight. Final corner. Can he gain any speed here? Keeps it tight on the corner, uses all of the rumble strip. 1.1 seconds. Oh, this is a final lap here. Herbert should be happy with 7th. The team will be screaming to be happy with 7th. But as he carries that speed from that first sector, Herbert is half a second from Lance Stroll now. Will we see a final overtake here? This is the gutsy F2 performance we remember from this driver from last year. Doesn't matter where he is, doesn't matter how good the performance is always going to look for the overtake, is always going to look for the move, as there's half a second gap here and a DRS straight to come. Can Lance Stroll defend here against Herbert? 0.4 is the gap. Nose to wheel. Herbert keeps it tight as we come down. This is the chicane. He's looked for the overtake here a few times. Not close enough for that move. Into the right-hander. Opens it up. Long bend. And has Lance Stroll pulled away? Is a mistake there. Is the DRS? Was the DRS zone in? As Herbert has DRS. The Williams wing opens. The DRS performance. Whoa, not enough late on as Stroll is going to hold on. Herbert lost some time. Stroll gained some time in that sector just before the DRS, which has saved Stroll here. Kept him in 6th place as Herbert is going to run wide on the last corner, but crossed the line in 7th with Albon following behind, 3.7 seconds behind in the end. In 8th position. What a race for the Williams team here. Driver of the day as well, of course.
And the best of British and the best on the track. It's George Russell who wins.
Gorgeous George gets the win. Verstappen out. I saw that DNF. The strategy's all over the place.
They're overtaking today as they work their way through the field.
Mercedes,
kind of race victories
McLaren
so
and
enjoyable.
Ferrari up on the podium.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the...
We do love Gorgeous George. But we don't need to see him on the podium. A wet race.
What an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Nothing in the sprint, but points. 8th place, our highest ever finish in Formula 1. Albon in 10th. So the Willies boys get points across the board. Strategies were the big calls there. Going in for the Inters. We went in for the Inters and then went in again. We lost Mark for the back end. So I had no idea what the strategy was. I just followed everyone else, went in on the hards. They all followed behind me onto the hards. And then we managed to get ourselves and keep ourselves in the right position. I was going to say 7th overall is because of Verstappen's. It adds both points Tyler together, doesn't it? Oh my days. What a race that was. The rain, then into the dry, coming in at the right time. Albon stayed out on the wets, went straight to the hards, ended up 10th. So maybe our strategy was better overall. We were so quick in Sector 1, and once we locked down Sector 2, it all was looking very good. Let's have a look at the standings. I'm clicking around. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. 12th now overall. We go above Ocon, Gasly, and Albon as the point-scoring drivers. 1 point behind Yuki. Oh, God, Hamilton's down there in 9th as well. And then in the constructors, up to 6th, joint points of Alpine. Williams, 11 points. Our first points of the season, put us 6th, right behind Aston. Alpine on 11, the V-Carbs on 8. Sauber and Haas yet to score, but we finally got points on the ball for Williams. Can we stay 6th? That is the ideal for this season, with the extra stuff coming in as well. We've got some fancy parts to hit for the next race, so I shall see you back for that race finally. Still 74 rated. Big moves. Recognition is going to go towards us. Is that 46 to 54? I can't tell if that's gone up or gone down. We still get the R&D rush, though. We need to get to 50-50 if we can. Got a manufacturing expert. Still nowhere near level 1 on any of those. As the results are in, Oh, my days. Oh, we've got another secret meeting before that Miami Grand Prix. So we'll have a look at some of the upgrades we're going to get coming in. We've got Miami up next, and then I think the upgrade, the one we're paying for, comes after Miami. So it won't have it for Miami, but a secret meeting to start next time round. Hashtag excitement. I'll see you back for Miami. Have a great day. Ta-ta, farewell.